Okay, how's that?
What about now?
Check,
Test,
1 2, check
test.
1 2.
What about now?
Let me see.
That number looks like it's jumping.
Okay, how's that? What about now? There we go. Check,
Okay.
check 1 2. Okay, so we're gonna restart this thing over.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do this thing organically. You know, we're gonna put some respect in the offensive line. See, God don't like ugly. What you guys missed?
What does that mean?
What you guys missed was my co-host saying that the O line was underwoman. It was gonna be what you say? What was the wording you used?
I said it was gonna be a wonky episode.
A wonky episode. We're gonna put some big boy respect on the big boys, the big hog mollies today. Who's that? Was that Kurt? No, not Kurt.
What is happening? The only reason I said wonky is because there's not a lot to really get deep into. Like there's maybe one position on the offensive line that may get some action, and that's center.
We could get some 4-eye techniques. We could get some forward technique. We could get some
what?
Man, come on now. You know the gap responsibilities. The 4 eyes or 3 eyes. No? Okay, I'll keep it simple for today. We're gonna do it. We gotta do it short to explain all this stuff.
Okay. All right. All I was saying was I'm trying
to say is T-Jab, thank you for letting us know we had no sound. I think we're good now.
We've had 1 year of top 5 performance out of the offensive line. Every other year except last year has been bottom 5. We were 28th the year before last, somewhere between 26 and 28.
You talking about O-line power rankings? Yeah, probably something like that. We're not going to discuss that.
That's why I said it's wonky.
Stop living in the past, homie.
No. Well, all we have is the past. We have no future right now. We have no idea what's going to happen. All right. Welcome. Thank you, TJ, for letting us know what was going on. It's just a simple button. Just
He's
a simple press of the button.
I'm Key.
Yeah.
Right, we got the formalities out of the way.
That's it.
How you guys doing today?
You asking me?
You can answer. You good? Everything's all right?
I could answer, so you weren't asking me.
I mean, everything's all right? Okay. So
I said this is gonna be a wonky episode, didn't I?
I think I'm gonna be the wonky one. So how you want to do this today? You got any first-hand questions, producer man? You got anything on your mind, in your chest?
He said he didn't have any questions.
It's okay. It's all right.
All right. So I do have a question.
Yes.
So I'll just go ahead and start it
Fire
off
from the hip.
Yeah. Right. All right. Don't be upset.
I'm not. I'm ready.
Okay.
I might upset you later, so this is gonna be a credit.
All right. We might break even with house money. All right. Which is better this year for Sean McDermott? You got his face? Oh, you didn't get his reaction. All right. Which is better this year for Sean McDermott?
Mm-hmm.
Having a great free agency with a mid-draft class and winning 13 games, or having a great draft with a mid-free agency and winning 8 games?
Okay, so to answer your question, how do you mean better, first and foremost? Are you talking about keeping his job, or are you talking about...
Yes, which type of season is more beneficial for Sean McDermott as far as performance, as far as resume, as far as keeping... like everything that goes with what makes a head coach successful?
I think for Sean McDermott, if he's keeping his job under both circumstances, you're going to love this, I think it's you got to go to the draft. I do. Because what happens if you're not the draft out of the party, you got 6 to 7 cap control people for the next 4 years at least with a first or fifth year option. If you're gonna go mid free agency, that means you got a lot of low cost, probably 1 year, maybe 2 year contracts that aren't gonna kill your cap. Mm-hmm. And you got talent to go for years to come. So I think I would bite the bullet and go 8 wins this year.
Wow.
Even though it's 8 and 9, and come back firing with the $30 million we got in 25, and retool with the talent and the experience that they got next year.
Now, with that type of season, do you think do you think the fans tolerate something like that? We're talking about 3 divisional losses, right? And obviously this is a completely hypothetical scenario. But do you think the fans tolerate a season like that?
I think it depends on what fans you're talking about. I think the fans that really love the team and see a vision can tolerate it. It might not be that palatable, but don't understand, especially if you don't have a lot of Kyrie Elams and stuff like that are number 1 draft picks that are sitting on the bench. If you can watch the young guys grow, especially week 1 through 3 or 4 where they're missing assignments, that are getting outmatched, and still you can tell they're trying to figure it out. At the end of the season, they put it together. I think the fans in the end would be able to stick around for it and see the big picture.
Okay. I like it. I mean, honestly, if it was me, I think the team has been kicking the can down the road so much because of their perceived Super Bowl window. Not saying they aren't in one, right, but it's kind of like they've tried to take a hole or a window that's been closing and try and prop it open. Try to pry it just a little bit more, with as much strength as they can to keep something that's inevitably closing open for as long as they possibly can. And I think in that scenario, even though this is going to be a very tough year to get some strong free agents in here, I think you can open up a decent amount of cap space by getting rid of some bad contracts and some older players that might open up more cap space than they were intending to by trying to keep what they think is a competitive team, right? So what I mean by that is you cut a guy like Mitch Morse, right? You still have Ryan Bates who can come in and play center. And as much as they fell in love with having Ryan Bates as a swing, guard, center, tackle, do whatever on the O-line, he's still under contract for what, 2 more years?
Who's that, Morse?
Ryan Bates.
Yeah.
2. At least 2 more years, I think, right? So that's you get rid of $10 million off of your books. You cut or trade Tre'Davious White. That frees up another $17 million, right? What else? You can, and everything else that goes along with that. You restructure Josh. You restructure Diggs if he lets you. You can restructure or extend Taron Johnson. You can restructure or extend Rasul Douglas. Rasul Douglas. You could do
Dawkins another year or 2.
Like there's a bunch of guys that they can still restructure that are either into their second year of a re-signing, or you still have Dawson Knox's contract you can rework. So there's options available if they really wanted to really make a big splash in free agency and really go for it, right?
Right.
And I think if I'm Sean McDermott, I have to be feeling a little bit of heat. I have to. Especially after what happened last year. I don't think that I can go into this coming year and draft really well and as a coach who's gone through what I just went through, be genuinely confident in that. Like, he may say that because he has the perceived support of the owner, but let's be real. Like, if it gets bad enough, Pagula's not going to have a choice. He's just not, because people are not going to be buying tickets. They're going to cause scenes at the stadium. It's not going to be an enjoyable environment. Bills fans can get very ugly very fast when they don't like what they see on the field, regardless of who we have at quarterback, right? So all of this is to say, I think the option of going forward in free agency and so to me a mid-draft is you hit on kind of what they've been doing. You hit on some of the later picks. You may not hit your first round pick. You know what I mean? Like, if they just have a typical draft like they've had, and produce 2, maybe 3 viable late round picks that work out. Okay, cool. But if they make a splash in free agency, get some real dogs in here, and win 13 games, it's very likely at that point that they could either have the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed again, have another home playoff game, and be talking about maybe the possibility of not having to see Kansas City until the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think at this point, I would take seeing Kansas City in an AFC Championship game over having a great draft class to look forward to and knowing that this draft class is still going to be under the speculation, under the scrutiny, under the tutelage of a Sean McDermott.
Yeah, I think that's where I fall in terms of draft class. I think with the draft class, we've seen him spend money to get free agents.
Yeah,
we've seen him, hide his draft picks that he may or may not have planned on even using behind players that he's had of lesser caliber, lesser potential, lesser ceiling. So what I would like to see for McDermott do is to draft and develop, because being alluded to it in his press conference, he was asked about Epinesa and it was somebody else, Epinesa and Leonard Floyd. They asked him, would you like to have Epinesa back? He said, of course, we want to draft, develop, and retain. But you're drafting, and for the most part, you're retaining, but you're not developing. And that's the major sticking point for me when it comes to McDermott,
right,
and his regime. Now what I like about Babbage and Brady, it indicates to me a rebirth, a shift in philosophy, a shift into the 21st century in the ways of thinking. I think that by hiring such young guys that don't have as much experience, is showing that at least they recognize that the way to go in the league going forward is to get younger and to be more innovative. The old ways don't work, finally. Now, I don't know how much influence they're going to have on the philosophy of Babbage and more so Brady. I say more so Brady because we don't have an offensive coach that's got any kind of seniority except Aaron Cromer, I guess. So what he runs and who we draft will show you who's running the show. But I think if you keep buying these free agents and you keep restructuring, we're just so old now. We're just so old.
Right.
And I mean, you're looking at Milano, he's 29, Josh Allen's 28, Stephon Diggs 31. This is all as of the season of 2024. Von Miller 35, Deion Dawkins 30. So you're looking at, let's see, our first 9. Okay, the youngest person in the top 10 is who? Josh Allen. In the top 10 of salaries is Josh Allen at 28 years old. So that's a problem for me, because if you know anything like I know, Tremaine Edmonds is what? This is what, a 6th year, 7th year? He came out at 19, he's 26.
Right.
He's in the second year of his new contract.
Yep.
So that tells you that we're not signing our own people. We're not retaining. We're not going younger. We're just getting people that we've seen do stuff already.
Right.
People we're comfortable with. But how can you be comfortable when you didn't win? 13-4, 13-3, 12, and it's not winning. It's winning the regular season, but the winning is 1-1, is 1-0, Super Bowl. I don't care about nothing else till the Super Bowl.
Is that an indicator of how good the staff that Sean has put in place is at developing talent? Like just based off of the success rate or the hit rate of these picks? I
would say either that or the evaluation capacity of the scouting team. Because, and that was what the question I was going to ask you. I actually had some questions for you. We had some dialogue, but I'll just jump to it. When it comes to the combine, you have 20-minute meetings. You get, 30 or whatever it is. You get, and you can talk about whatever you want. You can show whatever you want. You can, anything short of an actual workout. You can talk money, you can talk family, you can talk football, you can put it on a whiteboard, you can put it on a video, you can bring in your scout, you can bring in a chaplain if you want to. Anybody you want in there can be there.
Right.
So when you're telling me I got 20 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever it is, to talk to Kaiir Elam, and you show me a notebook and I'm smiling for 5 of it, something's wrong. Why am I not on a whiteboard? You asked Ed Oliver about the snow. He said, y'all got jackets, don't y'all? Y'all got lucky, but he's a D tackle.
Right.
Why is it that we had, we missed on guys that we could have had? Why is it that we reached for guys that probably would have been there? Why is it that you don't have a succession plan? We've seen that. especially in the early rounds of the draft. So I think the scouting department really they got hell to pay, because you're not showing us enough people to make an educated decision on.
So I think there's a way. That maybe we can work through that scenario and figure out who it is.
Right.
Right. And that way this year, I think, looks like, because if we're talking about scouting and all that kind of stuff, we could say that, they do a pretty decent job of scouting NFL players. Mm-hmm. Right. But there's also this kind of criteria that we've seen, be spoken about from, either Sean McDermott or, Brandon Beane when he talks about the picks and why we drafted these guys. There's this criteria that gets talked about. Yep. T-Jab, I'm going to get to your comment in 1 second. Give me a second. So I think going into 2024, the way that we can kind of tell the difference, I think it's based around, like you said, who they pick, because that'll tell you who they're listening to, right? If we see, speedy good route running receivers, we know Brady had a big hand in getting who he wanted, right? Yep. If we see with Babbage, if we see the kid who's the kid that I said is likely to go play for New England, the linebacker that was like 6'3", 260 pounds.
Oh, yeah, you talking about Braswell?
Yeah. So, if we draft a kid like that who's an athletic freak, maybe Babbage is able to do something a little bit different, because that's a completely different player from what we've typically seen in this defense, right? Now, the caveat to that is Sean McDermott has already said him and Babbage are kind of tied at the hip on this thing. Right. So the water may be, poisoned a little bit already. Could be. To me,
that also could say that McDermott feels comfortable enough that he can work with differing types of people. Yeah. Even if he said tied at the hip, so he's not going to get into who's going to call the plays or what the philosophy is going to be.
Right.
But
he did a great job of avoiding those questions, by the way, didn't he?
That's what he does. He's getting better at it. He's getting more crafty.
He's getting a lot better at it.
He doesn't say, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to go into it as much, but he doesn't answer anything. But I'm good with that. But I think in his past, if you look at the teams he's played with or coached, they've had different types of people lining up for him. And he can run multiple schemes, as we know. Now, the problem with him is he's afraid of what scheme he's going to run. He's comfortable with this, and that's what he wants to do. That's it. And the whole league knows that. That's why the defense is what it was. They were good in the beginning when he played lesser teams, getting 9-10 sacks a game. But then at the end, when the challenge and it starts to up a little bit and the stakes get higher, they go away. You get a sack, 2, maybe none. I call it the Gabe Davis effect. Boom or bust.
All right, really quick, I want to get to these comments. T-Jab said, I absolutely want to keep Diggs and Davis, but their production during the postseason has been inconsistent and non-existent for the most part. Do we move on and bring in new talent for the 1 and 2? Can I?
I mean, I got a thought on it, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm going to piss Keyshawn off. I'm not opposed to trading Diggs at this point in his career. I think I heard somebody on the radio say that he was a contested catch guy, maybe inside the first 15 yards of a play, maybe, but definitely down the field he's not a contested catch guy. I've not seen him yet make a big play over a DB on a, let's say, 30-plus yard pass. Maybe 40. I think 40-plus, because I think 30 he and it wasn't even really contested per se, but it was like a bang bang. As soon as he caught it, he got hit right away in that Lions game.
I think that's what they mean, because if you look at the Chiefs game last year, that catch he converted the first down, it wasn't a 50-50 ball, but the way it stuck to his hands through traffic. I think that's kind of what they're talking
contested,
about.
Though.
Well, maybe that's what he meant, because I mean his hands are sticky. Forget this thing. Forget that. Don't worry about that.
Okay. I was gonna say not sticky enough.
Don't worry about that. The light was in his eyes. You can't
tell me to disregard the mistakes.
I mean, it was it was one egregious when he had 7 drops last year. That's not bad. But when you look at even still, intermediate, Josh Allen's that guy. Steph Diggs is that guy.
Okay.
But what they did last year with Steph Diggs that angered me was that short crap.
Yeah, but that's.
If that's what you're going to do, then you can't
that's what I'm
him.
saying. He's going to be relegated to that Keenan Allen role now, where he's not going to be your deep threat. He wasn't last year.
I mean, I'm talking about screen. When I say short crap, I'm talking about the screens.
Yeah, I know, but I don't even want that for him. Like, to me, he's not athletic enough to take those plays and turn them into big plays consistently. He doesn't have that burst of acceleration to really make those plays boom the way he needs to.
Right.
He's got good speed and he's got great agility, but he's not a fast acceleration, speedy kind of guy. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I'm getting at. I agree. And what I'm saying is, if you want a guy that's going to catch screens, he's not your guy. He's your possession over the middle, intermediate, 5 to 15 yarder. That's where he needs to live. So no, I mean, like we talked about after the Kansas City game, I'm not going to get mad when people want to get rid of him. It is what it is. He's got to come out in 2024 and prove himself again, because he is 30 years old, 31-year-old season, and people they've written him off. So it's up to him to prove what he's worth. It's up to him to prove. But I mean, I don't want to pay $32 million for Steph Diggs not to be on the team.
I mean, that's true too. I think. If there's a way to trade him and get a team to take that contract, I'm okay letting him go for now. Mind you, I think something like this has to happen before the draft if you're going to do it, which is tough because it's a heavy receiver draft.
Very heavy.
But
very heavy.
If there's a way that you can get Diggs to Dallas for a 3rd-round pick and they take his contract, or a 4th-round pick and they take his whole contract, and we don't have to worry about it, I would take that, right? Because every mock draft that I've done and every mock draft that you've done, no, because you only took 2 receivers in one of your mock drafts, right? Well,
no, I took 2 of note. So I took one in the first and one in the third. The other ones I took one in the 7th or 6th. So I took one in the 2nd and 7th.
I think I took Anaya Smith in the 6th or something it might have been 5th, but somewhere around there. But anyway, TJ, I think I'm with you in terms of doing something different. But I think one of the ways that we can keep Diggs and still get ourselves a 1 and 2 for the future is putting Diggs in a slot. It kind of sucks because of what that does for a guy like Shakir, but I think at the very least you have to think about this guy that you're drafting this year in the draft being your number 1 guy going forward. That needs to be the guy that you begin to say to him, listen, watch Diggs, study his route running, learn as much as you can, because this year we're going to count on you like we count on him. Next year, you're going to be the guy. I think something like that getting put into place in the 1st round, and then maybe somewhere between the 3rd and the 5th round, you go hit receiver again, because now you're looking for your number 2. I think you can get away with that. I think something like that absolutely works. And I would do that. I think I had one draft where I got McCorley in the 2nd round.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm waiting to see what he does tomorrow. Because he's going to be a 2nd, 3rd, maybe 4th if he just has a pathetic day.
Right.
But yeah, I'm thinking he's gonna put himself in the 2nd round.
So really quick, in your opinion, right, with all the holes we have on defense, is it conceivable that the Bills could go wide receiver in the 1st, wide receiver in the 2nd, and still find average starter level players at the very least in the later rounds?
I mean, honestly, I'm more worried about the 2nd round wide receiver than anything.
Why do you say that?
Depends on who's there. You know, I don't want to reach for, you know, the guy out of UCF in the second round or whatever. If nobody's there, you know, like I did a draft. What was it? The one I saw, the one I did where I had Troy Franklin in the first and I had Xavier Worthy in the second. Now, if we did something like that, forget about it. Forget about it. I mean, at that point, we would go back to what you were talking about a couple of shows ago, where you just want to dominate offense. You know, I mean, because you think about the speed, you know, and being alluded to it, he doesn't care about, you know, 40 times and stuff like that. But when you look at how they play in pads, especially Xavier Worthy, I know I was going to say Troy Franklin, but he's that. I can say it now because we're alone. He's that Lee Evans guy. He's like that Lee Evans. So for him, you know, he's more of a restricted route tree where, you know, he's going to go deep and burn you and stack and get out of here. But, you know, Xavier Worthy is more the functional football player where he's going to go over the middle, catch it, and turn it up and make a guy miss and outrun everybody. And that's why I really like Worthy. And I'm so mad because I actually tweeted this out. His name is coming up a lot more than I wanted to.
Really?
Oh, it's coming up way too much. And my linebacker too, the one I had, Edgerrin Cooper.
So here's where that gets even more interesting. Brian Thomas is starting to get downgraded a little bit.
Until he runs, I think.
Until he runs,
if he runs a low 4.4, at 6'4", 205.
Maybe, but I heard a stat: 60% of his
downfield
catches are all.
Go routes?
Not yet, right? And so, I mean, that sounds like Gabe Davis.
Well, yeah, Gabe Davis with way more speed, which actually would make more sense. Because Gabe Davis, you know, I mean.
But seriously now. Seriously now. Brian Thomas is a low 4.4 guy?
They're saying he could run a 4.42. You got to remember, this guy, you got to remember, Malik Neighbors, I'm going to ruffle some feathers here, I'm sure, but Malik Neighbors is the best wide receiver in the draft.
I agree with that 100%.
You know, Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors is that guy. So you take him off the team, who's the number one? Brian Thomas Jr.
Right.
And, I mean, I think they both were symbiotically, you know, great because Thomas fed off of Neighbors and Neighbors fed off of Thomas. Mm-hmm. You know, unlike what we've seen in Buffalo where Diggs made everybody else go except for Kincaid. I think if Thomas runs a 4.44, they're saying if he runs a 4.42, he's not going to make it to 15. If he runs a 4.45, maybe 20. If he runs a 4, he runs a 4. They said if he runs a 4.48, maybe he'll make it to the Bills, possibly. So, I mean, the guy he's talented, and the thing about it is if you want somebody to run the Gabe Davis offense, then you need somebody with speed to do it.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying that Gabe Davis's skill level was not up to par with NFL, but what I'm saying is that what they were asking him to do isn't congruous with his speed and his actual natural game ability. And that's why when we talked about him when the season was going on, I was upset with Gabe Davis because I wanted to see what he could do intermediate. I wanted to see what he could do as a possession wide receiver because that's what he's going to be, I think. With his size, his speed, the combination that he has, in the footwork we saw, 2 years ago to make him a starter, Mr. Toe Tap, I think definitely he should have been showing us more in the intermediate. And that's why I'm not so worried about keeping him because I didn't see enough. Not saying he can't do it, but I didn't see enough to hand a guy $12 million and say, cool, we're good. You know, because in my mind, if I'm giving you $12 million, was that over a 3-year contract or something like that? Steph Davis is going to be off the team by then. So is Gabe Davis ready to take over reins as number one with a Troy Franklin? Are we going to is Gabe Davis ever going to become that number one? That's where I am with it. You know, I mean, if you want him to be a gimmicky kind of take the top off the defense kind of guy, fine. But I just didn't, for the money we don't have and the money he's going to command, I couldn't see it.
Right. T-Jab also went on to say receivers are pivotal in playoffs. They're unbelievable talent in this draft. He says we can potentially sign a 1 and 2 at the receiver position. Our postseason depends on it. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Then he says KC is only getting better. Yeah. Listen, the rumors of Jefferson going to KC are starting to get a little bit stronger, and based on what I'm hearing coming out of Minnesota. They've already tried to negotiate with Jefferson last year, and it didn't work out, right? That's why we are where we are right now with Jefferson. Not us, but that's why the Vikings are where they are with Jefferson.
I mean, maybe me because he's always on my fantasy squad. So I don't know.
maybe. But with them being in that position, and we know they're not going to re-sign Kirk Cousins because he's going to want too much money. He somehow always demands guaranteed money, and he always gets it from somebody.
I don't know how he got that.
He's going to get it from somebody this year. But what that means for the Vikings is I really can't see them ponying up. We talked about this. Mm-hmm. I can't see them ponying up 35 for to keep him, which is what they're going to have to pay at least, right? Especially with no quarterback in sight right now. So with that being the case, KC having a shot at that at the very least, we're not even including all the other free agent wide receivers that are going to be available for them to get, and the draft, right? What happens if they end up trading back and taking a guy like McCorley? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that type of deal for me makes it that much more imminent, that much more important for the Bills to get more weapons on the field, and understand which weapons you have make you a dominant offense, right? I think that, and you mentioned this, it kind of fits into what I want to see from the team this year, which is our defense is decimated, mm-hmm. right? It's going to have to be all young players. And if that's the case, I
can't wait to talk about that. Go ahead.
If that's the case, then we've got to develop this offense to be dominant. It's got to be the dominant side of the ball, and I don't want it to be the dominant side of the ball because the defense is so weak. I want the defense to be average to slightly above average with the guys that we have coming back, a little healthier this year, and the young guys contributing, and then still having an offense that's that much better than we were last year, mm-hmm. right? But again, in order to do that, in my mind, I think it's a tough decision because I really don't want Diggs taking reps from Shakir. Like, that's a tough spot to be in. I know how much you like Diggs, but if I had to choose, he's got to go. In my mind, like, and I've thought about this a lot because the money situation is tough. Mm-hmm. It's very tough. And if you do it, you have to do it before the draft, which means you're leaving yourself with no number one receiver going into the draft.
Yeah, and the thing about it would have to be, if you're talking about a cut, which is probably what it would be, it's going to have to be a post June 1. And what that means is you still don't have that cap space until June 1st. For 2 years, basically. So what happens is you're missing the first 2 waves of free agency as it is. So if you miss on the draft, you're screwed.
Right.
Gabe Davis is going to have to come back. You're going to have to bring him back. He's your number one.
Right.
And that's the scenario I was just talking about.
Or make Justin Shorter your number one. I mean, if you that's my thing too. Like, if you got Justin Shorter, he's the same player as Gabe Davis. Like, why even?
I heard he wasn't that good, honestly.
Shorter?
Yeah. And the worst part about this,
it would make sense. I liked his athletic ability in college, but again, that's against college players, mm-hmm. right? How will his body hold up? He doesn't look like a big 6'4".
No, he's like the Julio Jones kind of 6'4".
Right.
That super cut. He's 230 or whatever it is, but you just can't tell by looking at him.
Right. Julio got hurt a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, and looking at Kansas City's, we were talking about Justin Jefferson. Looking at Kansas City's cap scenario, they already have $5 million in cap room, off the rip, $5 million. Now let's go back to what I said before, with regards to Mr. Mahomes. What do you say? We'll make it work. However, we got to do it, right? Mm-hmm. Mr. Mahomes' cap figure, if you can see it, is $58 million. Right? Watch this. If he base restructures, he ends up with 12. Now, all you got to do is re-sign, L'Jarius Sneed to some cap-friendly deal.
Sneed has asked for a trade.
I'm sure he did.
Or he's been allowed to seek a trade.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, if they don't, well, he's a free agent, though, isn't he?
Is he?
I thought he was. So they don't have to re-sign him this year. You know what? Is he in? What is he in? When did he get drafted?
He might be a free agent, but it maybe a restricted free agent.
Well, what is this? Yeah, let's see. Is this he's got 19.8 against the cap this year. Why? 2023 entry level. So he's on his fifth year.
Okay, so
option.
he is still under contract.
Yeah, he's on his fifth. Okay, so if he's traded, let's do this. We'll go back and give me back here. Okay, so we'll get Jerry Sneed traded. Who cares? We'll just say Carolina for this guy. Just because I'm thinking it's going to be a draft pick, a couple bad draft picks.
Okay.
So by trading L'Jarius Sneed for draft picks, now they have $32 million in cap space.
My goodness.
What they can do is they can now sign, what's the defensive tackle's name? Chris Jones. They can sign him for a cap-friendly deal for 2024, push his money down line, and go ahead and get Justin Jefferson on the same kind of deal. Sign him with $35 million, guaranteed. I think they usually guarantee about 45-50% of the contract, and let it rock. And we're still sitting here trying to get rid of and restructure 30-year-olds,
right? In
order to make our cap zero,
right?
I just showed you it. They got rid of Sneed, but they got Mahomes. They have Chris Jones. They have Justin Jefferson,
and they'll still have Travis Kelce
in 3 moves.
Right.
That's what a life to live. What a life to live.
Right. T-Jab writes in points and only points win games. It doesn't matter who scores, but it's great to have above average talent at the receiver position. Touchdown makers matter.
T-Jab, question for you. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
So really quick, my thought on that was, I think when you look at some of the success that the Bills had last season, the times when they took Diggs off the field, it almost seemed as though the defense didn't really know who to check, or when Diggs was in the backfield, like. Who do you focus on at that point? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what you just said there, and that goes back to what we're talking about. Getting rid of Diggs, getting rid of Davis, and restructuring. If you got one guy, whether his numbers sync up, that commands that kind of attention, where you pull him off the field and they're like, well, that was a whole game plan.
Right.
You're telling you Gabe Davis is really that bad, because you're telling me Josh Allen has nothing between the ears that says, oh. They're all over him. I got Gabe right. He's not throwing him the ball. Why is that? Not because Diggs said, I'm gonna take your mom and dad hostage if you don't throw me the ball. He ain't got no faith in nobody else.
Yeah.
So this an indictment. Everybody talks about how Diggs was in the playoffs, but what got him there? It's not even the fact that Diggs his numbers were so great in the sunset of the season, but it was just the fact that everybody pays all this attention to him, which got James Cook open, got Kincaid open, got Knox open, got Khalil Shakir open. So you get rid of that, and teams are like, yes, find another way to beat us. We got to get 8 weeks of tape to figure out how you're going to do it. You got to figure it out in 8 weeks how to do it,
right?
Or your season's done. And you can't just say I'm getting rid of Gabe Davis. You can get rid of him. You're not getting rid of Stephon Diggs and say we're good. It doesn't solve everything, and I know people think it does, but it doesn't. And it's the name alone. He's old, but put somebody with him. Get you a Troy Franklin, get you a Xavier Worthy, get you, a Brian Thomas Jr., and let them carry on the torch. Because what the Bills do is they ride you till the wheels fall off every time. They never have a succession plan at all.
That's true.
And that's the thing that kills me. Like, where's our center? Mitch Morris he was one concussion away last season from never playing again. They didn't care. Ryan Bates, you're up. Where was the due diligence?
Right.
Who's been behind Deion Dawkins for the last 7 years? Who cares?
Alec Anderson.
Right. It's like, who cares? He's good. He's never going to get hurt. They turned up the injuries and fatigue off on Madden. They said, we're good to go. So when Von Miller, but the thing is, the way Buffalo thinks is when Von Miller goes down, oh, we're done. We shouldn't be.
Right.
Because I don't know if you saw Daniel Jeremiah's last mock draft, we're not taking a wide receiver. He got us taking Chop Robinson out of Penn State.
The linebacker?
The edge, the
pass rusher?
Yeah. I mean, he ran a 4.48. You know, he's 6'3", 240. He has potential to be the next Vaughn. His college numbers didn't put up Vaughn feelers. I think he had 11.5 sacks in his career, his college career, and 20 tackles for loss. For me, that's a no-go.
Sounds like Aaron Maben to me.
He came from Penn State too. But you know what's even crazier?
What?
Jeremiah had his passing on Troy Franklin. He went to Kansas City at 32.
Troy Franklin?
Yeah, Troy Franklin was on the board when Jeremiah
it's over.
But that's my point.
I mean, it's like damn near any receiver the Chiefs get. It's over. But
that's my point. You know, when the Bills do it, it's like, wait and see.
Right.
The Chiefs can draft a punter. Oh, snap. They know something. Yeah. A first-round punter. Yo, be afraid. He gonna run the league. But I want to be that team.
So, T-Jab, I have graciously skipped over Rich's comment here that says King McDermott will bring the Super Bowl in 2026.
Well, he didn't say that. He said we're going to get one. He's just a no-win.
No, he actually put the comment in here.
No, I'm saying McDermott said it's not if we get one, it's when we get one.
Oh, that's what he thinks?
McDermott, the direct quote. It's not if we get a Super Bowl. Yeah. He said at the combine, I think. It's not if we get a Super Bowl, it's when we get one.
It's when.
So 2026, Rich, I don't know what intel you got, but he might have a script.
So my point in addressing you, T-Jab, is for you to understand I'm not a huge fan of Sean McDermott whatsoever. While I do understand that he has had a hand in helping the team break the playoff drought, I don't think it was his doing in particular that did that. I think any head coach that would have come in here and established some level of discipline, you know, outside of whatever Rex Ryan was trying to do with the team could have, you know, gotten something out of that. Rich said it's when, and I do have the script. Bruh, stop, please stop. But all of this is to say, I think you know, Sean should have been fired this year, in my opinion. If you look at the trend of the league, it's offensive minded guys that are you know, winning Super Bowls. Of the last 10 Super Bowls, including last year's, which would make 11, it's all been either non-defensive guys, and when I say non-defensive guys, I'm talking about Pete Carroll and John Harbaugh, or it's been Bill Belichick with Tom Brady. So you can't even really count that as a defensive head coach win because he's had the greatest quarterback of all time, which is offense. So that trend alone for me is it's an indictment on what the Bills have tried to do. Now, mind you, there are a bunch of teams this year that hired defensive head coaches. They looked at what happened with DeMeco Ryans and thought, I could do that. It's not going to work out that way. It just doesn't. The league is not designed as it currently is right now for defensive-minded guys to have great success. When you're talking about the way that these offensive people that are coming into the league and coming into these head coaching positions with the creativity that they have, with the ability to change things on the fly and make adjustments, you know, in game, and even how Andy Reid has kind of stayed ahead of the league, right? He's a guy who. What are you saying, Rich? Man, when McDermott wins the Super Bowl, A will be avoiding the podcast like the Black Plague.
I'll be here.
Oh, of course you'll be here. Listen, I'm telling y'all right now, if Sean McDermott wins a Super Bowl, I will eat my words. However, whatever form that has to come, but I don't think that's going to happen. Like, I'm already bald, so I can't even say I'll shave my head if he wins the Super Bowl. Like, shave my beard?
Oh, man, his voice going to change if you do that.
Okay. All right. I'll take that bet. If Sean McDermott wins the Super Bowl, I will shave my beard and come on here bare naked face.
Yo.
I promise. I promise I will do it.
Hey, if you guys don't know, that's reverse Samson over there. Shave his beard off, he gets weak.
I got to lose some weight so it looks good. I can't come on here with chubby cheeks and a little baby chin. That ain't going to look right. Got no jawline whatsoever.
So you better pray.
Right. It'll be the worst Super Bowl we ever won.
Exactly.
Anyway, wear a Sabres jersey with a clown wig. That's not enough. That's not enough.
Yeah, we got to up the ante a little bit.
Yeah, it's got to be a little more egregious than that.
Yeah, it's got to be embarrassing.
Yeah, I like the Sabres, and I've been to plenty of Sabres games. I meant to ask you about that. It's funny to me. T cracking up. It's funny to me how. Remember when we talked about the game day experience, and you said you preferred winning, right? When you're at the games,
right.
I'm sitting at these Sabres games and I'm just enjoying being there. Yeah. I didn't even care if we win or lose. I'm just like, man, this is really nice. Right. It's really peaceful in here and the people are so nice and this game is kind of entertaining.
There's no tables, there's no catching them. It's just like, but the thing about what it is though, and I think we talked about this off the show. When you're not used to winning, you don't care. That's why when I talk to people that have been on the show for a while, they know how I feel about UB.
Yeah.
And I've been a season ticket holder for almost 30 years. They've been trash before 2008.
Yeah.
Me and Monk, man, we go have a good time. I ain't care. It was sunny outside. We got 3 hours of football. It don't matter. They win. Now you're like, yo, why did we lose that game? Now you paying attention that you never did. The Sabres ain't there.
Totally changed my perspective on going to games for teams that aren't winning. Like, totally. I never.
Love this.
Right. I could care less if they win a game. I just want to sit here and watch hockey because it don't matter to me.
Oh, no stress.
Right. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I thought that was kind of funny. But
it's true. No stress.
All right. Let's get to stuff we heard, man, because I'm seeing some things I like in here. It's very interesting stuff.
Okay. All right. We did the Chop Robinson. Now, I did not scout Chop because Chop was slated to be a top 10 pick before Jeremiah decided he was going to put him at 28 to us.
Who takes a pass rushing linebacker?
No, he's at the end. He's a defensive end. He's like he really is.
You said top 10?
Yeah, he was like a top 10, top 15 pick.
So it would have to be.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because I'm looking at the draft order right now. So Carolina, Washington, New England, they're all taking quarterbacks, and that means Marvin Harrison.
Might.
Huh?
Carolina might. They don't have Brian Burns anymore. If Burns is going to, because they got Bryce Young, they might give him another year. Draft a quarterback later. I mean, that is their number one overall pick.
I mean, they've had a top 5 defense the last couple of years. I don't know if they want to give that up.
How much is that with Brian Burns though?
Huh?
Brian Burns had how many sacks last year? Double digit, right? He had to have 12, 13 probably.
Where is Brian Burns? Let me see.
But yeah, I could be wrong, but I mean, I could see a world where, because you're looking at $20-something million, and they have some money. Well, they have a lot of money compared to us, but if they want to get younger, I mean, I think Chop would probably be a good option.
They may have him listed as a linebacker. Let me just.
Who's that? Brian Burns?
Yeah,
I can find it. Hold on a second. Brian Burns. Here we go. All right, last year he had 8 sacks. So he only had 8 last year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was he hurt? No.
I don't think so.
No. He played 16 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
okay.
All right, so,
well, I mean, maybe they do feel like they can, move on from him, but I don't know.
No, I mean, you could. I just see you just drafted the number 1 overall. I mean, that's the Sam Darnold.
Yeah, you got to get him some weapons.
You would think
they got to invest in the offense. I think you're right. Okay, so I mean, if I'm looking at teams that may pick Chop Robinson, Tennessee, because they got Will Levis, but they need receivers. They got Traylon Burks, but he's a bust, huh?
Who's that?
Traylon Burks.
Oh yeah, he was a bust coming out of Arkansas.
Right. So year 1 he was a bust.
No, he was a bust coming before he got out the bus. Remember he passed out in the off-season training conditioning drills.
For real?
Yeah. Wow. The first practice he passed out. Just too much.
Yeah, so they need a receiver for sure. Giants.
Who was this?
The Titans.
Okay.
Titans definitely need a receiver because I don't think they have Hopkins beyond this year.
Okay.
Or last year rather. Giants could use a receiver. They don't have a number 1 guy. Atlanta has a number one guy, and they have Kyle Pitts. So they may draft Chop Robinson. But outside of that, I mean, you're looking at the Jets maybe going defense.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota could afford to do that because they lost Danielle Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Denver's got 2 receivers already. They more so need quarterback play. They may try to sign Kirk Cousins or trade back, or maybe continue investing in the defense for the time being. I honestly think they get stuck with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, probably.
Unless they find a way to trade him in a trade that gets them further up the in the draft order.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only team that I think they can do that with is Atlanta.
Yeah.
So if they can't get to 8, and I don't think 8 gets them a quarterback either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are they going to do? But anyway, yeah, Chop Robinson, I think, at the very least goes to Atlanta. But I wanted to see what you thought about this really quick before we move on past that point. The Bills are 28th, right? I think a couple episodes ago we talked about what teams would need a receiver before us.
Right.
The only team that I think needs a receiver close to us is Jacksonville. And I mean, maybe the Rams, but they need defense, like bad. Right? So what do you think it would take going from 28 to 17?
28 to 17?
28 to 17. Would you take them giving up what it takes? Like, actually, never mind what it takes to get up there. Would you take them just doing whatever they got to do to get to 17 to make sure they get a guy like Worthy or Brian Thomas Jr.?
I don't honestly. I think if you're going 17, that's for the slide of a Dunze or somebody like that, which I don't even want, because I really don't see. I don't see Thomas. I definitely don't see Worthy going in the first. If he does go in the first, that might be the Kansas City pick behind us.
So I mean, doesn't that mean the Bills have to take him if he's there at 28?
Well, you know how my track record is with Sean McDermott drafts. Every time I say we should do this, I'm so sure it doesn't happen. So I'm going to say no.
That's why I can't wait until we do this mock war room thing, man. Like, that's going to be so much fun.
I just remember that day we sat in the car, we went to get the pizza, and it was an Ed Oliver draft. And you're like, they're taking a D tackle. I'm like, dude, they take a D tackle, I'm going to freaking lose my mind. I'm going to lose it. And then Mel comes in, and remember Mel was like, yo, Key, don't watch the draft. I'm like, okay. He's like, you don't want to watch. So, I mean, for me, as long as if it's not Keon Coleman, I'm happy. If it's not Leggett, I'm happy. If it's not Adonai Mitchell, I'm happy. Because Adonai is going to be a riser, I think, after he runs tomorrow at 6'4", what is he, 6'4", 205 or whatever he is. He's not a big guy. No, he's like 6'4", 195.
Who is?
Adonai. Adonai Mitchell. He's a slender 6'4". But he's climbing. And I don't fall for the allure. See, I like I want the yak. I want the rack. And what I've seen out of Worthy, what I've seen out of Franklin, what I've seen out of Thomas, is what I want. Worthy is 6'1", but Franklin and Thomas are 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
And they're gonna run. They're definitely gonna run 4.3, 5 or better. With Franklin and Thomas probably being a 4.44. I'll just say, throw it out there.
Okay.
Somewhere around Stephon Diggs' speed when he ran the combine. So would I move up? It'd be tough. It would be tough for me. It'd be tough for me. I mean, it really depends on how the draft falls, but it would be tough for me. I don't see the need to go that far for anybody, especially, if we're talking about especially Franklin or Thomas. But I think the most I've seen for Thomas right now is he's going like 23rd. So if you're talking about moving up 4 spots, 5 spots, okay. But
Yeah, I mean the Bills moved up 2 spots last year or something like that.
The last two for Kyer and Kincaid, 2 spots.
Yeah. Neither of which, I mean, I get Dallas probably would have drafted Kincaid, but even with that, it's like
I would have just taken Mayer, let Knox run it, and we wouldn't have known the difference.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, anyway, and Darnell Washington, like that was my guy.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I was up on that too because of the blocking. See,
right.
I was a bit because when they drafted, I know we're going off topic, really not, but when they drafted Knox, they were like, he's an athlete, he's this, he ran a 4.5.
Yeah.
We saw it,
right?
So we're like, cool, we got to shore up the hands, but cool. Now now we're gonna move him to the Kincaid role. We wouldn't have bypassed Kincaid. He would have been gone before us, we think.
Right.
So
right.
It's not like we missed like Gronkowski when we did Toro Troop. Not like we did when we did when we missed on AJ Brown and AJ not Brown, AJ who's in Cincinnati, AJ Cincinnati Green, AJ Green.
Oh, AJ Green. Yeah.
AJ Green and Julio Jones when we didn't even bother with that when they were sitting right there and we took Marcel Darius. Kincaid was going to be gone before we drafted, so we would never have known what he did in our offense. We would have said, okay, we got Michael Mayer if you wanted a tight end, right. Or Darnell Washington if you wanted a tight end, right. And this Dawson Knox guy that we already had that we know had 9 touchdowns last year.
Right.
So everybody's vilifying that guy because he did nothing for $14 million, but what did he do to get the $14 million? He got 9 touchdowns. He was a red zone dude.
Right.
But his role is diminished because we drafted another guy, and he's fine with being in the back seat. That's no indictment on him. The problem is people look at what he's done and they don't see it in totality. They don't see him being, a cog in this Buffalo offense that was high flying and number 1 and 3rd downs.
You just brought up something that I think I'd overlooked.
What's that?
And it's like it's pissing me off second by second now.
What?
We really just wasted an entire year of offense.
Mm-hmm.
We wasted,
yeah.
and think about this. We got Kincaid with the mindset that we were going to run a 12.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have 2 tight ends, both very athletic. One can catch the football.
One can catch better than the other. I mean, Dawson's all right, but he's not. He's never going to be a world beater.
Right. Yeah, Dawson Knox needs to be a screen guy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He would be a great like how Travis Kelce runs his stuff.
Yep.
Definitely, I would use him like that. But we really just we did all these moves, all these we signed linemen that could run block. We drafted linemen that could run block to run a 12 scheme. Mm-hmm. That's going to be poof gone
right.
before we even see 2024 open up.
Yep.
Like we really just did that.
We really did that, and that all stems from hiring who? Dorsey.
But who hired him though?
I know. I know.
But who hired him though?
I mean,
people are missing this stuff.
But who endorsed it? JA-17. He's my guy.
Ah, my gosh. Here we go. All right. Let's look.
Oh, brother.
Even if the quarterback says to the coach, I like this guy, I want him to stay. This franchise is not run like any other franchise where the quarterback has that much pull.
No.
Right?
I agree. I think for Josh Allen was like the icing on the cake, though. I think it was one of those like we like Dorsey or we like whoever.
And
Brady.
this could be purely speculation, but there exists another side of that too, which is maybe he didn't feel like he had to say. So okay, yeah, I like him. He's been my quarterback's coach. Why not?
That's crazy. Because you think about it like this. Hey, Spencer Brown, what they ask you about Dorsey? Well, they ain't ask you nothing. Oh, okay. Hey, James Cook, what they ask you when you say you wanted Dorsey or oh, they ain't ask you either? Why they calling me in the office? Why they ask me? Bing, bing, dude, you that fella. You that guy. They asking you for a reason. Now, what our parents always say, I'm going to ask you this question, and I might not do it, but I'm going to listen to you at least. Sometimes. Usually my mom didn't, but that's neither here nor there. I'll tell the story of the dog and the skateboard a later time. We'll pack that away.
The dog and the skateboard?
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is what? 1991. Ken, you listening?
Oh, my God.
This is Grandma. This is Grandma, Ken, all right? We're in Hills. 91 was a skateboard age, right?
The hot dogs and the popcorn.
I had to have my birth certificate, hot dog. Popcorn, though.
Huh?
Nobody believed I was 10, so I had to have my birth certificate.
To get popcorn?
The free popcorn?
Oh, the free popcorn.
Yeah, because I was like 6'12", so they were like, yeah, he's too old. Yeah, I know that's 7 feet, dude. That's what Kevin. Ain't you a basketball fan? Kevin Garnett, 6'12". He didn't want to say he was 7 feet. Anyway, so all I wanted in life was a dog. I'm 7 years old. I want a dog. Every being in my heart. Mom's like, no dog. So my birthday's coming up, and we're walking in, and this is skateboard age, and there's this big display. I'm short. I wasn't that tall, but this thing is like a mountain of skateboards. And most kids, they want what they see.
Right.
My mom stood me, held my hand in front of the skateboard display and said, so you still want that dog? You want a skateboard? Because it's right there. I said, I want the dog. She said, get your skateboard. That's how it went. That's how it went.
No way.
If I'm lying, I'm flying. That's how it went. I remember it like it was yesterday. She will tell you this.
I want the dog. Pick up that skateboard, son.
That's how it went. So, when it comes to Josh Allen, say, do you want? We'll just say Brady just to be, do you want Dorsey or Brady?
Yeah.
We're already leaning towards Dorsey, but what do you think? Do you like Dorsey? He can say, well, actually, I like Brady. Maybe they don't listen to him. But that press conference ain't gonna say, yeah, I love it. I love it. He's not gonna say that. He's not gonna say I hate it, but he's not gonna endorse it like he did. And that's the way I look at it. So, yeah, I mean, like you said, we wasted it mainly because we kept Dorsey on so long. We let Dorsey go through the draft because of Brady. If he would have built his team, Kincaid wouldn't have been here. We would have had, I don't even know who was drafted after the fact, but we would have had, if we were going offense, somebody later in the draft, and they would have got a speed guy or,
right.
So yeah, it was a waste. It was a big waste, and now Brady has to undo what was done last year to make it right. So
that brings about an interesting question for me. I feel like the main stuff just keeps getting pushed back, but this is just so good.
It's all right. We're supposed to talk offensive line. I can do that in probably 10 minutes.
All right, perfect. Okay, so let me try to remember. Okay, that brings up an interesting point, or a question rather, because you then have to ask, based on Ken Dorsey's history from college, what he played, what he's used to, what he knows, it is the 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
I criticize Sean McDermott for basically instilling the 12. Like, mm-hmm. I thought that it was primarily his thing, right? Mm-hmm. And I've thought about it recently, and I think I'm coming around to the idea that maybe there's a possibility that Sean allowed Dorsey to do what he wanted to do, right? Yep. And if that meant more of the run, which is what Sean McDermott wanted in the first mm-hmm. place, then so be it. Let's go for it, right? I want to support mm-hmm. my guy. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, it blows up in your face. That, I think, fits more into what happened, with Dorsey getting fired when he did, and the offense kind of transitioning or trying to be transitioned right. back into what we were doing back in
modern offense.
Right. So it still stings though, because an offensive-minded head coach would have known this. You get what I'm saying? I think even if that's the case, and this is not me trying to take away, loopholes for Sean McDermott and make mm-hmm. loopholes for Ken Dorsey or make, right. you know what I'm saying? But this is, if I'm trying to state it exactly how it is, mm-hmm. the same way that, NFL teams do it. It's a business, right? It is what it is. If you touch the ball, you got to catch it, right? If you have a chance to make the pass, you got to make the pass. There's no excuses, right? So if that's the case, doesn't this still sting a little bit, can I say more? I think it stings a little bit more because even if it was Ken Dorsey's decision to move to the 12, like I said, an offensive-minded head coach would have known better. You want to go to a what? You want to do with who?
Yeah.
Right? Like, Zach Taylor's not doing that. Sean McVay's not doing that. Kyle Shanahan, maybe.
Right.
But with his run schemes and his West Coast offense.
And his quarterback.
Right, yeah. Right. So I just I think at the end of the day, regardless of what my feelings are about Sean McDermott, regardless of what my feelings are about any of the coaches on this team, I think it really comes down to, like you said, we had to move back to a modern offense. Mm-hmm. I think this team needs to move into the modern era in terms of what teams are doing to win games. Yeah. Right? Yeah. This is a city that's been starved for any kind of significant wins since the 90s. Right? And the highest we got to was an AFC championship game in which we looked like we kind of belonged there. Mm-hmm. So it really wasn't a good look for us. Right. And the best game that we've had in the playoffs, probably in Bills history, was a loss. Mm-hmm. Again. Yep. Right? So I think that's what brings me to the point that I've been at now, where it's just like, yo, I don't care if Steph Diggs leaves. I don't care if Mitch Morse leaves. I don't care if Deion Dawkins. Like, I just want to scrap this whole thing because to me, it's nothing but a bad taste in my mouth at this point. And you're trying to put lipstick on a pig and hope that it wins the pageant. Like,
no, how? I get it. See, I think for me, I see where it can be easily rectified with what we have, with better decision making. I think I can see where Diggs is that guy again. I can see where James Cook is progressing to the next level. I can see. And my thing is, and when we talked about, we didn't get into it. We had a debate about what side do I want the draft to be about. And I said defense, believe it or not. That's because for me, I feel like with better decision making from the coaching staff, we're not that far away. I mean, all we were really for me last year was decisions in the number 2 wide receiver away. That's the way I look at it, because if you had, I'm looking at James Cook's splits right now. In the first half of the season, he was carrying the ball a lot. And then, it kind of trailed off, or I'm sorry, he wasn't carrying the ball at all really in the first half of the season. In the second half of the season, he got work. He had what, 18 receptions in the first half of the season last year. It ended up with 26 under Dorsey or Dayball.
That's crazy. An offense that was built for him to get the ball, he didn't get the ball in.
Right.
It wasn't until Brady came in.
Brady came.
That's crazy.
So you figure he had what, one touchdown under Dorsey. But he had 3 touchdowns receiving under Brady. He only had 1 touchdown in the first 4 weeks, and he had 1 touchdown in weeks 13 up. So this is decision making I'm talking about. I mean, his numbers didn't fall off a cliff. It was a decision making. They got scared. Right. You gotta dance with the girl that you brought.
Yep.
And we stopped doing that. Evident by if you look at the splits from the regular season versus the playoffs. It's a stark difference in what they did and who they used and what successes they went with. So as far as the draft is concerned, yeah, we definitely need to get our number 1, but we knock out a number 2 receiver that could be a number 1. If it was a Brian Thomas situation where Diggs is the de facto number 1 because that's who's been here, right, but Thomas could easily be number 1, we're not having this conversation. If you did nothing else on offense, to me, if you get somebody on the other side that's capable of 1,200, 1,300 yards, Gabe Davis was never threatening 1,300 yards. I don't care what anybody says.
Never.
If you get that threat on that side, now when Steph Diggs is off the field, okay, thank God we got a breather. We'll deal with this guy. Wait, Diggs is back on the field. Who's going to kill us? And that's for Josh to pick his poison.
Right.
So that's what I think is going to be the edge pusher for his Bills team. I don't think it's going to be anything but a good draft, spending your money wisely, and let's coach. You got to take your lumps. Some weeks you're not going to win, but I think more often than not you're going to get a victory.
Okay. What is F-boy energy?
Well, I can't spell out the whole F, but well, yeah, we know. Your dad really wants to know what that is. But earlier today, I actually copy and paste breaking from X. Caleb Williams declined his medical examinations with teams at the Combine and did not sign off on having his medical record shared with any team, with all teams. Williams is believed to be the first Combine invitee ever to decline an examination per CBS. He's just becoming
he's special. I heard something about he was asking whoever drafted him for 1% of the team, or he wanted to be part owner or something.
Yeah, he wants to be part owner.
Or no, wait. I'm sorry. It was his dad that was asking for this. Yeah. Specifically, if we want to be accurate. But
it came from somewhere.
Right, exactly.
It came from somewhere.
I'm sure he shared the sentiment at the very least. But
I mean, this is circumvention of the whole process. And we talked about it. We talked about
I don't want to tell you nothing about me.
Right, because I don't want you to know about me.
Is he working out? Is he going to throw at the combine?
I don't think so.
So
he might do something, but I don't
only
think
go by my college tape where I was playing against subpar talent.
Yeah,
basically.
I didn't beat anybody good.
Right.
Ever. But yeah, go off of who I did beat, and I and that's why when I said
That's
that game where his backup, the Myers kid had 600 yards in the game, I'm like, and that's why I asked that question. I said, was it really Caleb? Because he didn't beat anybody good. Was it the system? Was it Caleb? What was it? Maybe he's that good. I don't know. Or maybe they just give him artistic license in order to don't cancel me maybe they just gave him.
They had a mic in how long, and he's been talking the most today.
He likes it.
He does like it.
He thinks we can't hear him. But yeah, no, I think this guy. I think Drake May is going to save Caleb Williams unless people like Daniels from LSU. If they really fall in love with Daniels, I could see him going number one. I could see a world. I could see a world where Neighbors goes number one. Honestly, the reason why I say that is because you heard Marvin Harrison didn't show up to the combine until 3:45 our time today. He was MIA. Nobody knew where he was this morning.
Wow.
These guys got problems.
Wow.
They got problems, dude.
You already have the number one spot as
Right.
far as receiver rankings.
Right.
And you do something like this.
Yeah, I mean when they were, because today the receivers were supposed to have the group interview. So basically, they were supposed to stand on the podium and ask get rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
They were like, "Where is Harrison Jr. here?" They're like, we don't know where he is.
This could be him trying to make sure, like, look, if they're gonna draft a receiver number one, it
Right.
ain't gonna be me.
Right? Did you hear Jeremy? Oh, you must not have heard, but Jeremy White and Sneaky Joe when they were like, "Oh, I know what it is." He was with the Bills and he didn't want to leave, so. They said, I mean, they're being funny, but they're like, he doesn't want to leave. He wants to go to number 28. He wants to tank all the way to 28 so the Bills can take
He
it.
wants to tank all the way to 28.
He fell in love with the Bills, so that's where he wants to go.
What if college players really started doing stuff like that? They started tanking themselves just to get to a specific team they know likes them.
That's what Caleb's doing, and that's why I have a big issue with him, and that's why, being a former athlete, obviously I was never on this level, but to think
I didn't think about that. This is a smart way to do that.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go to a specific team, like don't even. I'm not working out. You're not going. Nope.
Not doing it.
Nope.
I mean, Lamar Jackson didn't work out at the combine. Well, he threw, but he didn't run because he didn't want people to think that he was going to be a wide receiver. Everybody wanted him to run so they could see what he ran and do wide receiver. He's like, no, I'm not doing wide receiver drills. But to the point where Caleb Williams has already been outspoken about he refuses to play for the Bears. Then he walked that back. Then this thing about he wants to share of the ownership. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he walked that back, but that kind of got swept under the rug. But now this, I don't want this dude.
Well, it's against league rules for a player to have
I would think
ownership
so.
in the team.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's circumvention of the salary cap.
Not for them to have. Well, they can't be playing for the team they have ownership of.
They can't play for any team. I mean, they can't own any team if they can't. Because think about it. If I'm playing for the Bills, and this is kind of what the TB12 thing did. If I'm playing for the Bills and they give me ownership, I get 1%. That's cool. But then when my contract comes up, salary cap, we're over by $44 million. Oh, you're a $60 million guy. You know what? Let's up your percentage of ownership to 5%, and we'll give you a base contract, a league minimum, and you're making $60 million. So that's it's never gonna happen. And
this is America. Leave me my loopholes.
But this is why the NIL thing I hate it. I hate it the amount they get. I don't care that they get money. I don't care they get thousands of dollars. I don't care they get tens of thousands of dollars. But you're talking about Deion Sanders telling Shadur Sanders or telling Tom Brady to tell my son he doesn't need a Rolls Royce. He doesn't even go to school on campus. He takes all online classes, I heard. Yeah, he doesn't even go to school on campus.
Wow.
These kids aren't even going to school anymore. They're not going to class in their jammies. They're not standing up all night on nightly benders when you're in the dorms. They're not doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at guys, Angel Reese, who is still at LSU, who should have came out and been number one last year because she made 1.3 NILs last year. She's never going to see that money in the WNBA. Wow. 1.3. I mean, that's ridiculous. This one, I forget who it was. Somebody bought his mom a house with his NIL money. Like, yo, how about you give your mom a degree to put in that house? Values are crazy now. These guys, now they don't go to class. They go on in Grand Theft Auto and have vigils for their fallen homies.
Yo, you missed that? No, you were here for that.
You saw, you were here.
You were definitely here for that. They have vigils. I need to see this.
I forgot. I forgot.
I'm looking this up. I have to.
No, I'm
gonna
send it to you. I'm gonna put it right.
I'm gonna start watching GTA. Like I'm gonna watch other people play GTA just to see if stuff like this happens.
Yeah, you can be like, what?
That is funny. Insane.
But yeah, I mean, so yeah.
No. What Key was talking about was people holding a vigil for someone who died
on the game
on GTA, right? But then during the vigil, somebody did a drive-by on the vigil, like they went and shot up the vigil. People mourning this dude.
So wow, okay, it's normal. Everybody's doing it, Dad.
Right.
Wow.
Of course, his generation is just like, what's the problem?
But I mean, for me to think about this, the whole problem I have with this declining medical, you're sabotaging the draft process. Yeah. Last I heard, when people went to Vietnam War, they got drafted. They didn't say, you know what? How about I just go to? No, you're going where we tell you, and that's it. Eli Manning. That's why I hate Eli Manning. Was he great? I don't know, because I hate him. For the very simple fact, I'm not going to L.A. If they draft you, that's where the hell you going. But nope, I'm going to New York because I don't want I kicked and screamed. My dad said I'm not going to be. Dude, you're funny looking. You're a weird looking cat. You're never going to be in a movie
unless you're Eli Manning. I think that's what Caleb Williams is looking at.
Yeah,
but
at least he's decent looking. No. Eli Manning is never going to be in a movie. No photo shoots. He didn't need to be in New York.
True.
He could have been in deepest, darkest Peru for all I cared. You can go away.
He was almost in San Diego.
Yeah. San Diego, I said L.A. I'm a couple cities of that, whatever.
Well, they're L.A. now.
No, all right.
You're all right.
You're right, okay, I'm good. Okay.
All right.
But yeah, no, so that's the F-boy energy. I mean, I think the entitlement of walking in is just dumb. Just stop.
But again, is it really F-boy energy if the strategy is, I don't want Chicago to take me?
Hey.
I'm a poison the wall. I'm a ruin my image to them as much as I possibly can, so that they don't drive here. Let me rub this doodle all over me.
Right.
Let me dirty myself up a little bit as much as I can.
So to go to your point about, I guess that was the part. I don't know. To go to your point about Justin Jefferson you made last week.
Yeah.
Chicago, go ahead and draft Caleb. Guess what happens? He shows his butt. He has a subpar career while he's with you. He makes no money on the second contract.
Then what?
Then he's got to prove it again. He's lost out on that $350 million contract because he didn't show himself in Chicago because he was whining. That's the last you said about Justin Jefferson. If he doesn't have a quarterback and his numbers go down, his value goes down. Caleb shows nothing in the first 5 years of the contract.
I know, and you're right. You're definitely right, because Justin Fields is in that situation now where if there's somebody that believes in him, he can go and make some money under somebody that believes in him. But
and he actually tried. He actually showed something.
Right. So, I honestly, I really hope Justin Fields ends up just staying in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Let him stay there. Let them take Malik Neighbors and pair him with DJ
Oh
Moore.
yeah, DJ Moore. Yep.
And let's see what happens. I mean, Darnell Mooney was a great weapon, but DJ Moore, to be honest, is a 1B at the best.
Right.
At the very best, he's a 1B, right? He just got fed a lot in Chicago because that's all they had.
Right.
And they weren't playing against great defenses in that division. So, that's it can be F-boy energy if you want to see it that way, I guess.
I would like to.
I would like to. Do you not like Caleb Williams?
Not anymore. Not at all. Not anymore.
Is it because of this or just?
No, it was because of the other stuff we mentioned about I'm not playing for Chicago. It was about it stems from well beyond. I think he just started smelling himself way too early.
Got you. Okay. What else we got
for your being interviewed? So they asked him, the status of Hyde and Poyer. He said, we don't know if we're going to have to replace Hyde and Poyer this year, next year, or when.
Why are we talking about Hyde and Poyer?
Somebody asked.
I mean, Poyer and Hyde.
Poyer's still under contract.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hyde is not even under contract.
Right, but they were getting to re-signing. Have they talked to Micah about re-signing? Have they talked to, have they got their feelers out for whether he's going to retire? Does he want to go somewhere else? What's he going to do? So, being said, we got Poyer one more year. We gotta look at it whether we have both, one or none of them. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but I don't know if you listened to that press conference, but I don't think you're going to get your boy James Williams. I don't think it's going to happen. They made – oh, you ready to be really mad? They mentioned Kurt Coleman again. Now, not that he's going to be on the team. Good job. Not that he's going to be on the team, but they like somebody like him. What they said, no, wait. Can I make it even better? Make it better for you? Can I make it better for you?
You mean you want me to walk off the set? Is that what you mean?
I'm like, now it's my show. Now that he's going, what are you guys going to talk about?
Right,
no,
of course.
But
be talking basketball the rest of the night, right. Just so y'all know.
She's like, hey, what's happening with y'all?
Right, he slides right in. What's going on, y'all? That'd be great.
Basketball truth and knowledge halfway through the show. But no, I mean, I'm thinking. Well, I'm not thinking. It was said. Even Sacapaccio said. Actually, he said more than once. They're looking at lesser paid safeties that they can play on a cost control contract. So you're talking about midday or mid round talent. You're talking about guys who don't command a lot of money because they're limited in skills.
That's James Williams.
Yeah. No,
is
they
he slated to go higher or
huh?
James Williams he wasn't projected more to go further than.
But it goes further though because they're talking about they like his body type.
Whose body type?
Kurt Coleman.
What?
They like So I don't know if this is going to upset you, but this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Cam Lewis is going to be back on this team next year as a safety, maybe even a starter.
Bro,
I know. I'm sorry.
I promise you I will. I promise you I will find a way.
I only got 45
We ain't got no sprinklers in this building. But I promise you I will. I will burn everything except my Bills hats until I can find another team to put on my head. If the Bills start Cam Lewis, Cameron, don't slap the ball down Lewis.
Cameron Lewis.
At safety, next to Jordan Poyer.
Yeah.
I'm taking a year off.
Nah, okay. Well,
I'm taking a year off.
That's gonna give me a chance to develop my skills as a single host.
No, it's gonna be you and Mac up here.
Okay, you're right.
I'll sit in the background and just watch. And just be mad.
You look towards the wall.
No, you know what? I'm gonna sit next to Junie. And we gonna have a camera that shoots on both of us. And I'm just gonna be
pushing buttons.
Every time the camera look at me, I'm gonna be looking like this.
Yep. Like, yo, did you see what Cam Lewis? I'm like, you see what Cam Lewis do it? Every time he makes a play, you see what Cam did. But yeah, no, they alluded to size. They alluded to basically speed.
How can they say that and not say James Williams?
Because
he's the epitome of all that.
No, he's not. Because they want smaller in stature, that size, not. No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. This is what was said.
We can't have a safety that's too big now. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. If I'm lying, I'm flying. And they likened what happened with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. They said, well, Poyer was a 7th rounder. Micah Hyde was a 5th rounder. Look what we did with them. They said, look at, so they're talking about possibly a world where Taylor Rapp and Cam Lewis are our starters next year. If I'm lying, I'm flying. If you can go on the Odyssey app and run back the show, the One Bills Live show.
What is happening right now?
And don't flame Sal, because Sal didn't bring this up. This was a deduction from a press conference. So that's where we are. I mean, if James Williams, I don't know what he's gonna. I don't think he ran today, but
in college, the man ran a 4.46 at 6'5", 215. How could you? How?
All right, I got an answer for that too. Because Bean also said he's looking for a player in his pads, not what they tested for. In other words, I don't care what he ran in a 40. I don't care what he did in the cone drill. I don't care what he does, on the field drills. I care what he did on the field in his pads under the lights. That's all he cares about. Yeah, you hurt. You real hurt.
So then don't even draft a guy.
No, they're going to draft him based on what he did on the field.
Well, why do that if you got guys in the NFL that you can go and sign?
They're cheaper.
But they're not going to be better.
The camera's been on you the whole time. Oh, okay, it's back on me now. How about he's
like
got everyone.
They're not going like that. That's the part I don't understand. Like, yeah, okay, college player is going to be cheaper, but you can go sign a guy that's been on a 1-year contract, an undrafted free agent or something like that, and it won't be that much more than a rookie contract. In fact, it might be less in certain circumstances if you get the right guy.
Well, Bean said, I love how I got comebacks based on what Bean said. He said, we got some work to do, guys. So basically, what he's saying is he doesn't even care if you're 21 acting like 24 or if you're 24 acting like 18, maturity level. He said, some guys you can tell, I can work with them. I can get them better. Some guys are just lost. He said, so for him, he's not worried about, whether the guy had, McDermott preaches culture. And then he said, I don't care about none of that. He said, what I care about is can I fix him? Can I work with him? Can I get something out of this guy? If I can, I will. If I don't think I can, I'm not. So I think a lot of the scouting, that's why when you look at how they pick players and who they pick and where they pick them, that's the idea that they have. When you look at why do we take Elam? Because he was good in his pads. He's not good in his pads in Buffalo because he doesn't play in his pads in Buffalo. But that's not. See, the thing about that is once Bean picks him, and this is why I didn't jump on Whaley, because there's a lot of what Whaley said too. He picked the guys that you wanted. You want an edge rusher? How you want him to look? Okay, it ain't gonna work in your system, but Shaq Lawson, come on through. That's what you wanted. I'm gonna give you what you want. Bean, on the other hand, I want this guy. I know he's good in the system. McDermott's like, I can't use him, but I have him now. So now he sits. For me, I would rather, like you said, Trey White, Kyer Elam, Dane Jackson. That was an idea too, bringing Dane Jackson as a backup slot. That was an idea.
To play slot?
Evidently, he was better in the slot in college. Evidently, that was his natural position. They put him on the outside. He wasn't supposed to.
Oh, that just makes it even better.
I know. Okay. I thought you would like that. I had to bring you back.
Let's find all the ways we can make Aramis hate himself even more for being a Bills fan.
You didn't do it. It's a good time on Sundays. So when I'm at home with my beers and I'm like, yeah, game day experience. I don't remember any of this because I've been drinking all day. That's what I'm talking about. When I go to the game, I'm sober. I'm cognizant. I got a notepad in my head. None of it makes sense. So I'd rather watch it at home. But the thing is, all jokes aside, I think our problem more so than not is two guys in the same position that report to the same guy that have different views of the team. And they're never going to come together. I don't care what anybody says. They're friends, whatever they are. They're never going to understand football the same.
Bro, why does this always seem to happen to us?
Well,
like how is it that we've gone from a very cheap owner who kind of knows how to put teams together,
knows how to get the guys that know how to Ted Marchibrodas, the Polians, knows how to hire the guys and say, you know what, how much money am I not spending?
Right.
Versus this guy who's like, I got it all, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. Like, how do we keep finding ourselves in these positions where we're just like we can? There's a little hole in the glass where we can feel a little bit of what it feels like to be good and successful, but we can never get the hole open enough to get through it and to the success.
That little success window. You want some success wind?
We've had to watch the Patriots do it right in front of our face. Mm-hmm. Now we got to watch the Chiefs do it in our backyard. Mm-hmm. Who is it going to be next? Mm-hmm. Even Cincinnati has made it to a Super Bowl before we did.
That's a problem for me. The Baltimore almost made it before we did.
Right.
And that's what drives me nuts about this.
And they're going to be better next year.
Yeah, they are. And we're still trying to figure out our cap.
Like, even if their defense is not as good because they lost their defensive coordinator, but still, like, the players on that defense are going to be good, but the offense is going to be that much better.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's a deep wide receiver draft. They're probably going to draft another guy in the later rounds.
Yep, they got 16 mil. They got 16.5 in cap space.
They could easily just sign a guy.
If they restructure Lamar Jackson, their franchise quarterback, which they easily could do, that gives them 27 mil. And they ain't do nothing else. 27 mil right there. And you got how many draft picks? I don't even know. They got 50 players. All they got to do is get one wide receiver. Or what? A running back? Whatever you want to do. You get 2 players, you're good. Us, we're still trying to figure out how to pay the guys that we don't even have. We're trying to figure out how to make a roster. How many players we got? We have, with all our futures guys, we have 53 men on our roster. And that's with all our futures guys. Kendall Williamson. Who's that? Brian Thompson. Tyrell Shavers. Kevin Jarvis. Who's Kevin Jarvis? I'm sorry. Zach Davidson. Who are these guys? But they're making our 53-man roster and we're $42 million in the hole. I joke all the time about, wanting to fix the salary cap. But this one, I'm glad I'm not in charge of this. This is a mess that they're in. And I didn't realize we were the worst cap space in anybody in the league.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until we got the extra, what was it? Extra 15 mil.
So before the new cap number came out, we were like second worst.
Yeah, we're like second. We stayed at second or third, but now we're last.
Right, we are the worst.
We are and I don't want to say that when we're looking at a Super Bowl window. And like I said earlier in the beginning of the show, why is that? Josh Allen, 28. Stephon Diggs, 31. Von Miller, 35. Deion Dawkins, 30. Tre'Davious White, 29. Dawson Knox, 28. Milano, 29. Taron Johnson, 28. Mitch Morse, 32. Rasul Douglas, 30. Why did I read those? That's our top 10 salary cap eaters on this team. That's the top 10 salary cap eaters. Nobody is younger than 28 years old.
Welcome, Lindsay.
Lindsay,
I made an attempt to make a joke in the chat there, but I am.
You hurting?
I'm devastated. I'm devastated. Like the more we talk about this cap situation and what Bean and McDermott are saying about what they're looking at in the draft, I'm just devastated. I can't like they've well, I don't know if Bean has learned nothing. But Sean has learned nothing. What is he doing different? What has he changed? What about this team is going to change? They're talking about we like the body type and we like and want to replicate what we had with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Why are we looking backward? Why are we trying to recapture something that we love? Who gives a damn if we loved it or not? Why does the golden days even matter in this case? Next man up.
It's comfort. It's comfort.
Right. That's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. And that shows you exactly where the mindset of the owner is. It's just comfort.
Mm-hmm.
It's just comfort. I just want to be around my friends. I spent a little bit of money so that I could have a 60,000 people family.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why I spent the money.
Yeah.
I could care less if we actually. I can't say I could care less, but I'm not willing to do what it takes or go all out to get the right people in place so that we can go and win a Super Bowl the way that we're watching other people do it.
Yep.
It is maddening to watch success happen all around the Bills, to watch all these other teams get these great, exciting players, and we've had one superstar in the last 20 years. One. one good quarterback in the last 20 years. Green Bay's had 3.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, too. You think about it. You know, I wanted to get into the Deion Dawkins interview because I had some thoughts on that. Actually, I heard some thoughts, and I want to talk to you about it. But I highly doubt the offensive line is going to happen. It might. We have nobody. Well, we have a top 5 line. Pretty much everybody's coming back except for David Edwards, and there's nobody in the draft. We're good. All
right, guys, have a good night.
I watched so much film on offensive linemen. I tell you, I mean, all the ones I saw that had some kind of promise, they were all undrafted free agents. So I don't think you guys want to be bored by listening to that. Whoever we draft on offensive line is going to be in round 6 and 7. We can talk about it later if you want. Let me know. But no, I think, you know, for me, when I used to have a team, when I was a supervisor, I get an accolade by my team, and my team gave me an accolade. You know, if I got an award because of them, I would throw them a pizza party, show them the award, put it in my drawer, and say, "Go get me another one." As soon as I got Steph Diggs, I'm like, "Go get me another one." You know, 'cause what happened? Like I told you before, Steph Diggs luckily has been durable. What happened if he wasn't?
Right.
You know, I love Steph Diggs. Everybody that knows me knows that. But I don't want to see what Josh Allen is without him. He might be great, but I don't want to find out. Now we're going to find out very soon because Steph Diggs is 31 this year. His time is running out. When are you going to find his replacement? He should be on the team already. Is it Shakir? I don't think so. But Shakir, he's close. But I need another. I need another Shakir. I don't want no more Gabe Davis. I want 2 Steph Diggs. I want a Troy Franklin. I want Brian Thomas. I want a name in the draft. I don't want Sammy Watkins. I want a name in this draft that has a body of work that we can work with. And I'm relying on Mr. Culture, Mr. Character guy, to pick the right guy with the right culture, right character. And it hasn't proven to be true that he can do it in the skills positions.
Right.
Kyrie Elam. You know, he's done all right with regards to Trey White because he traded way back to get that. He traded back to get Trey White. I'm good with that.
Did you hear? Did you hear? It just reminded me you saying that because I'm like, well, the only person that they've really drafted that's you know
right.
at a key position has been great has been Josh, right? Mm-hmm. But did you hear what Sean McDermott said when they asked him what it was he saw in Josh Allen that made them draft him?
Mm-hmm. What did he say? He
told a story about how Josh drove for over an hour to meet with them wherever they were supposed to meet. Mm-hmm. He said Josh had just flown in from meeting with somebody and immediately got off the plane and drove over an hour to meet with us, and that showed his dedication and showed his initiative to what?
Right. And you know what, that answered the question because somebody asked Bean in the presser today, why the move from 12 to 7? Was it always for Josh? I'm not going to get into it, but it was always for Josh. Getting a what? Yes or no?
Right.
There's no follow-ups. I mean, what are you going to ask after that? Okay.
He didn't want to get into it, but he answered the question.
Right. Like, I'm not going to get into the specifics. What specifics? Was it or wasn't it? What is the specifics?
I'm not going to tell you how many other people we tried to trade with
right.
to get up there, but
like, you know, he even went as far as to say, you know, they weren't budgeting here, so we knew we had to move up to get this, to get that. So what are you leaving out? Did you want what you think? I mean, Darnold was gone, Mayfield was gone. You didn't want Rosen, or you could have got him.
Right.
What?
Lindsay says McDermott knows it's Super Bowl or get fired this year. Does he?
I don't think so.
Does he? Like, who's telling him this? I want to know who's telling him this.
Man, I don't even think that's true. Honestly,
where's he gonna?
True.
Like, and here's the thing. I do agree. I think deep down he does know that. I've said that just an hour ago.
Yeah.
He does. I think deep down he does know that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, all the indicators from everybody that we hear talk about this situation who have some kind of no. There's nobody in the building who has more power than him that is going to tell him, you're not doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Pagula just enjoys winning 10 games every season. Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. And I mean, I'm sure he can sense he has a sense of urgency, but I don't know if that you can say he knows he's got to win or he's fired, because I don't think that, honestly, I don't think it's true. You know,
you don't think he knows that deep down?
What do you mean?
You don't think it's like sitting in his gut, like, man, like if I don't have a great season, or if I get kicked out of divisional round again, it could be my tail on the line. You know,
I think the word you said right there is exactly what it could be. You know, the word could.
Yeah, but I think it's more likely than not.
Well, the thing is, when I hear it's win or fired, it's like that's Super Bowl or you're done. And if you got to say could be, that's where I land. With your statement, that's where I am.
Okay.
Can I talk my way out of this? What can I use to say we made progress?
Right.
Steph Diggs didn't work out. Steph Diggs got hurt. Josh Allen had another injury. We didn't draft a backup quarterback that could fill in for him. Our defense is hurt again.
And what can I say? I was gonna say he's got a couple of built-in reasons why the team won't have.
And that's what I'm saying. Who's gonna say?
Excuse me.
Nah, fam. Who's gonna say that? Nah, fam. I heard it already. We will. But we ain't got no power. Me and you sitting here like, yo.
Right.
You know, but I mean.
Well, I see that, and that's to me, words are the most important thing that anybody has in this world, right? And I'm not saying that to say as if you don't know it, but I'm just saying, like, you just said we don't have the power to change that. I think that's what this show is all about, is about using our words to try and create awareness and create a fire within people to stop spending money on something that's just draining them emotionally. Like, eventually it's got to get to a point where, like, yo, I'm tired of getting kicked in the nuts.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the mentality of everybody. I think people, like you said about Pagula, I got 60 friends. I can go drink and get sauced up, just like a big bar party. But again, for them.
Just like we talked about when me going to a Sabres game,
right?
At some point, and I'll save this question for the next episode. But because I was gonna ask, like, is this more of a hockey city or a football city? It's kind of hard to tell, because if we got 60,000 people that are going to the stadium just enjoying the experience, are they really hockey fans? Would they be pissed if, you know what I'm saying?
It's changed. I think it's swayed to the football team.
Well, now because the Bills team is the best representation that we have. I get it, but back when we were going to the playoffs and deep in the playoffs almost every season, it was a hockey town, but.
Well, I think what it was is the fact that we didn't have a Josh Allen. There was no – he's the great hope, we'll say. You know, all you got to do is listen to people say, as long as we have Josh Allen, we're in a playoff window. That's enough to put butts in seats right there. As long as we got Josh Allen, we got a chance. Who the Sabres got? Yeah. Rasmus Dahlin. I love him. He made the winning goal last night. Tays Thompson fell off a cliff this year. So, I mean, it's like, okay, is Dahlin the great hope? I don't know. I mean, he's a defenseman. He's one of the best in the league. But Josh Allen, you don't hear anybody on the Sabres side say, as long as we got him, we got a shot.
Yeah.
But the Bills, they never seen what happens without Steph Diggs, without Josh Allen.
See, I just don't want to end up in a situation where, we've had chances at Super Bowls every season, but because my head coach doesn't know what he's doing, i.e. Bill Belichick, Tom Brady ends up leaving. Mm-hmm. And then going and winning a Super Bowl somewhere else. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously the difference is Tom Brady won Super Bowls in New England and then went somewhere else. But I just, like, to me, I would just die.
No,
I don't even know how.
And the way you said that is exactly what I feel when anybody says, as long as we got Josh Allen, we're in a playoff one. I don't want to hear that.
That's not enough.
No, exactly. That's not
It's not enough.
That's why I'm like, yo, my man J.A. 17. And? He got to throw it to somebody. The same way you can't say him versus Patrick Mahomes, who lost. You can't say he's going to take over the game. He don't play defense.
Right.
In basketball, Michael Jordan took over the game. Both sides. Kobe, both sides. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen got to sit down.
Right.
That's how it works. So you got to rely on somebody else.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if Josh Allen just gets fed up and like, no, I'll play a middle linebacker. Move out of the way, Terrell.
Did you hear somebody called the 550 about a month ago and suggested that he plays middle linebacker?
I mean, Junie was just talking about that we should have players that play both sides of the ball.
I
He
mean,
said that last episode.
$258 million quarterback.
We crucified him for it.
I crucified the guy on the radio too, and I wasn't even there. I mean, I'm like, yo. And it's funny because in my head, I'm like, if Nate Geary don't get this dude, if he don't get this dude, and he did justice. He let him talk. He said, you know what? Frankly, that's the dumbest idea I ever heard. I said, thank you, sir. I remember I was cooking. I said, you better cook him. You better cook this dude, because if you don't. But yeah.
All right, we got to get to these linemen. Did you go
No,
through?
screw that. I wanted to ask you about.
All right, cool. I'm with it. I'm with it. All right, we don't need offensive linemen this year, honestly.
Nah, I mean, honestly, I try to do centers, and there are no centers really to talk about. I mean, it's we have to get depth guys out of free agency, and they're not even that good.
No.
The Deion Dawkins interview.
Which one?
I think DJ Vlad.
Oh, the one I was watching when you came in the other day? Yeah.
Now, there was a question I heard on another podcast I was asked, and I loved it. I wish I would have been in on that conversation. How do you feel about the competitive nature of the NFL these days in terms of, the jersey swaps? I got the phone number here. We just that and third. Does that not bother you? In a physical game like this where you're trying to kill somebody, unalive, whatever platform.
I think my mindset changed when the NFL changed. Mm-hmm. When they stopped making it about the hits and the devastating defenses and the power run game, when it stopped being like an alpha male's game. Mm-hmm. I think that's when my mindset changed to, okay, well, I mean, these guys are coming in soft, you know what I'm saying? And not saying that every NFL player is soft. I'm just like, the game itself is softer now. But I think once that switch happened, I think my mindset was like, there are no more like real rivalries anymore. That's the
thing. And I grew up, growing up in the 80s and 90s, that's what we lived for.
Yeah.
Brian Cox coming into Buffalo, Squish the Fish.
Yep.
Carwell Gardner at the bus waiting for some.
Yep.
And it was brought up, and it was funny. I'll just say it was Buffalo Fanatics, where Rico and Zebot were talking about it. They're like, what would you do if after the divisional game where we lost to Patrick Mahomes, a camera cut to Josh Allen, asked him home for his jersey? What would you do? Because Tua did that. When they lost to Kansas City, he was midfield asking for a jersey swap. Like, Zebot said, I would probably burn this studio. He said, my show would be on for 3 hours talking about that.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Yeah. See, to me, the difference is this is the guy that kicked you out. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This is the guy that like basically pantsed you and whipped you with a belt in front of everybody, and now you going back and saying, more please.
Right.
Basically.
And he literally told you without telling you the only reason you beat me was because of a bad penalty.
Right.
I mean, at that point, it's on site. I'm socking you out.
Right.
And I'm going to find a way to play middle linebacker for one play and sock you out.
Right.
I mean, sometimes coaches like Ryan Daboll and Sean McDermott had more fire in their handshake than anything I've seen. And Deion Dawkins, when he was talking about how much he hates the Jets, he hates who was it? Was it?
It don't show because he get tore up all the time against the Jets.
But he hates them.
Then don't hate him, love him, and maybe you'll play better, Deion.
But I mean, the thing is, like, okay, at least he has the wherewithal to say that. Stephon Diggs, he alluded to the lack of toughness on the team. He said that we don't have the dogs, not in the sense that we don't have good players, but we don't have the guys with that mentality.
Yep.
And that mentality. But
Sean doesn't want that mentality. This is what I've been saying like every episode that I can say this.
We've been there. We've been there. But the thing is, like, and and it's funny because I only got like 15 minutes left, so I'm not going to go into. I'm not going to say I'm going to choose my words lightly so you don't kill me here. But I'm going to rehash it like you've been saying it. Where's the dog and Josh? Where's the dog?
Oh, my God.
We got Steph. We got Steph. If Steph goes and fights, like, for instance, I will retract it a little bit. When Spencer Brown was getting jumped by half of whatever team it was, who was there? Josh Allen. Spencer Brown was coming to the aid of Deion Dawkins. Where was he? Where was anybody else?
Yeah.
So, somewhat. Okay, Josh has some dog in him. But I think the mentality is that point it still reigns true. You have to walk it like you talk it. And these guys they're not walking it. Well, they are walking like they're not talking about anything. They're hoping a good job. This guy works extremely hard. You don't work hard enough. We ain't got no rings.
Right.
Nobody's working extremely hard. We ain't got no ring.
Right.
We failed. 13-3, 13-4, fail. 16-1, fail. 17-0, failed. If you don't have that ring, the whole season was for nothing. What did you earn? Yep. These guys just earning more money. They're earning more money. They're hitting guarantees. They're hitting their bonuses. What does that mean? I thought football was a team sport. Everybody's talking about this guarantee and this payout and this roster bonus, this restructure. For what? We're just spinning our wheels.
No doubt. And like the funny part is we're not even talking. It's not even a Scalabrini conversation. Like you were talking about how Scalabrini went and played people, and I'm closer to Kobe than you are to me. Mm-hmm. We're not even talking about the team from a standpoint of we think we can go do a better job. We should be winning the way the Chiefs are winning. We should be. We have a quarterback who is comparable to Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Right? For whatever people want to say about the interceptions and stuff like that, to me, that has everything to do with offensive scheme, coaching, all that, because when he had a much better offensive coordinator, those interception totals were down. Right. So, to me, has everything to do with scheme and coaching.
I mean, who's got the better receiver room?
Well, people would say the Bills have consistently had the better receiving room.
But we don't have any rings. That's my point.
Right.
That's my point. We got maybe not the better quarterback, but who's better than Josh Allen between Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes? Right. Anybody? And I'm not a Josh Allen fan.
Right.
Who's better? I mean, what running back would you forget everybody with the catch? Would you rather have James Cook or Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Oh, James Cook easily.
Would you rather have our receiver? You just answered that. Travis Kelce, okay, he has the edge over Dalton Kincaid. Yep. But is it a landslide, or is it because we didn't use him the way they used Travis Kelce?
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
See, the point is, the thing is, I don't want to, and that's why I'm saying strip the excuses. It's all bullshit. Yeah. And I love you. I'm gonna use that because I don't want to curse on here. I'm going to again one day, but it's all crap. Everybody's got a built-in excuse because we were brought up on excuses. We were brought up on after the four falls of Buffalo. All it was excuses. Right. We never got back to anything.
Right.
And everybody's fine with it, like you said, and it drives me nuts because this isn't new. This is decades of unlearning we have to do. And we have the horses. And that's why, like I said earlier in the show, when we talked about where do we draft, offense or defense, we got the horses on offense. Right. On defense, we're making do with a 6th round cornerback in Benford. We have 2 old dudes in safety with Poyer and Hyde. One's barely got his neck on straight. The other guy's whole body's falling apart because he keeps taking these vicious hits. Right. We got an overachieving linebacker in the middle with Terrell Bernard. Yep. We got what a defensive end. We got this guy they want to typecast as a pass rusher, even though we know he's not. They got an old dude over here who's got 2 ACLs and an Achilles is messed up. What are we doing? So we just retool with this. And when Von Miller doesn't work, he's like, let's go sign a 31-year-old backup for him.
By the way, we can only activate the best interior pass rusher we have if there's a good one tech next to him.
Right.
He can't do anything by himself.
Mm-mm. Which is that I don't know if you watched the tape I showed you. I sent you of Braden Fisk. Yeah, did you watch it?
I didn't get a chance to.
Okay, yeah. And I was gonna say, I mean, he's the kind of guy that can't be a full-time one tech, but I could see a lot of creativity with him because he could play some one tech downs, but he's just as good as Ed Oliver, just as good as that. He was the fastest D tackle in the combine. Wow. I mean, the guy's got a rip move. He's violent, and I mean,
so? Would you say he has like a Kyle Williams streak to him?
No, I think it'd be better than Kyle.
Well, I mean that to me is like you have to draft that guy because I really enjoyed watching Kyle Williams play.
Well, you watch the tape. You always will verify me, but you watch that tape and tell me what you think because when I saw the speed on the guy, and I know I'm not a bench rules guy, but when I saw the speed to his size, like I text you, he looked like a bouncer on Chippewa. He's built like these guys had guts. These guys, this dude, no. No.
Wow.
He filled his shirt out completely in the right spots. And 4.78 speed, I think it was, a D tackle. And I mean, it was scary. It was scary. He opened my eyes. But, I think when people look at the Bills, they're like, oh yeah, no, there's no excuses. There's none. Because the defense is overachieving. The offense has all the tools you need. What is the next excuse?
Yeah.
Special teams? Sam Martin? I know I make fun of the guy all the time, but it shouldn't matter that much. Why do you want the punt guy when you got Josh Allen and these guys going all the way down the field all the time? You should have a guy that has a noodle leg but can put the ball at the 1 yard line every time. Right. A coffin kick guy. You should have that. That's how you build your team. But, when going back to Dawkins, I just wanted to know, is this a new experience? Is this a new fan experience, watching guys just be buddy and I got to go talk to man. Remember? Well, you might not. Well, we were young, but the reason why Isaiah Thomas hates Jordan, he's like, he ain't shake my hand, so I hated him. I still to this day can't talk to him.
Yeah.
Magic tried to be liaison. Look at the Dream Team. Them cats was socking people up. If you wouldn't go watch the recount of Magic Johnson talking about what practice was like, these guys took it personal.
Well, so here's the other part of that I just thought about too. If it was a young team that we had, like if it was Josh Allen's, first year or something like that, right? And okay, prime example. If we made it to the AFC Championship game and Josh was just like, "Yo, Mahomes, I love the way you play," blah blah blah. Can we switch jerseys? Young dude, ain't been in the league that long. It's not really a rivalry at that point in time. Yeah, it's the AFC Championship game, but I think I could excuse that. But if you talking about 3-4 different losses to the Chiefs at this point in the playoffs, watching them go on to win 3 Super Bowls in our tenure, right? If Josh ever had it in his mind to go over there and trade jerseys with Mahomes, I think the city would turn upside down at that point.
Yeah, definitely.
Like would. I would return to looting. Like I'd go right back to my idea of just as soon as I walk out of here, everywhere I walk past, I'm looting.
You think it's something,
right?
I think for me, the image of Steph Diggs standing out there with the Kansas City celebration when they beat us, it rings true, and that's. Even though, people were on him, he should have made the catch, blah, blah, blah. That's the mentality that you have to have. This should be me.
Right.
He's not better than me. He should be asking me for my jersey.
Right.
And I mean, okay, you might do that at home. Call him up. Hey, can I get a jersey off you? Can you sign it for me, my kid, or whatever? I mean, midfield is crazy, though. Like, it's just like, could you just imagine, I don't know. Let me think. Who? Dominique Wilkins asking for Larry Bird's jersey after a game, or Dennis Rodman going to David Robinson saying, "Hey,
yeah,
that was a nice rebound. Can I get that jersey?" Man, he would have spit on him. Brian Cox go. Man, Andre Reed. Yo, Brian, can I get that Dolphins jersey? Man, Dawkins would have slammed him. Not Dawkins.
Go ask James Harrison if y'all can trade jerseys.
Right.
He'd have kicked you right in your stomach.
He would have suplexed you.
Right.
and that's the stuff that I miss. Like, you don't have to be dirty. You don't have to be violent, but it's a mentality.
Right.
It's why are you standing here?
Right.
Who gave you the right to stand next to me on this field right now? You don't belong here with me.
Right.
And that's the dog that I think Dawkins, he's preaching it. And some guys can't do it, but you need people that preach it. You need a goon. And this is another thing.
You can't be a dog and then get pushed back like he did in that game. I'm sorry, he don't fit into that. Diggs will forever be the dog on this team.
He had the wrong cleats on, man.
Huh?
It's the wrong cleats.
Right.
No, but I think when you think about what was I gonna say? Oh, I was listening to the Buffalo Fanatics, and they said, who are the goons on the team?
Yeah.
Who don't you want to mess with?
Yeah.
Nobody. There's nobody in this team that you're like, yo, nah, not him.
Right.
Not him. And they also
used to be Shaq Lawson.
Yeah. And they also said, who's the hardest hitter? Matt Milano. That's our hardest hitter?
Can't be. It's got to be Poyer. It's got to be Poyer.
I would think so. But, I mean, for somebody to fix them, I would say Matt Milano. Mr. 13% missed tackle. I mean, no disrespect to Matt Milano, but that's all you got? Ain't nobody laying the wood on this team.
No.
At that point, ain't nobody doing it, and that's a sad fact.
No. Lindsay writes in, she goes, the stat that chaps my ass is Mahomes' INTs called back in his entire NFL career. I think it's 50. We need another day to discuss the cheating or favoring by the officiating crews. So Lindsay, check this out. So I've made it a habit to consistently, every chance I get, when I see those YouTube shorts of I forget the name of the guys that do this, but they take very egregious calls that happen in games, and they make a video out of it where they show like what's happening in the moment when a player's about to do something egregious and the ref starts to pull the flag, and then all of a sudden the player stops or something like that. Like it's really, really funny. But anyway, the point is, I send this stuff to Keyshawn, and little by little, it takes away a piece of his soul the more he watches it. So it's really funny to me because, and I think we mentioned this a little bit on Monday, right? We talked a little bit about this.
Yeah.
So how about this on Monday?
Yeah.
On Monday, you're gonna figure out how many of these were against us.
I did it.
Oh, you did?
In the playoffs, none of them.
Would you come? None of them?
None of them.
Okay, so it's all regular season, or
all regular season. Nothing against us mattered.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing against, and that's all I care about. I don't care, and not to dismiss the comment, but I just don't care what's going on. It's like, but they were doing it too. I don't care. They didn't do nothing for my squad.
So I think my mind immediately for this goes to the Dorian Williams penalty, because that was the end of the game. To be honest, right? You stop the Chiefs at that point. You get them off the field, and I think we still had the lead at that point, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So now you have a chance to go up by 2 scores. If you can get something in either field goal, touchdown, whatever, that seals it. Right? That's the call that I point to and say,
right.
What were the refs looking at?
Right.
Because they called that play, but New York should have been able to call down and no, he was past 5 yards, or he was inside 5 yards, whatever it was, right?
Inside a yard, yeah.
So stuff like that is what I look at, when I look at the Mahomes thing. So Lindsay, real quick, I watched this video. And I forget the girl's name, but remember that there was this young girl, and she got famous for interviewing Drake in the bed.
Yeah, I know about
you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. So I watched a story about her kind of rise to fame and how people started thinking that she was a plant by the industry or whatever to try and make her famous. I think, to some degree, that stuff does exist. I think there are certain people that get put into certain positions to push a certain agenda. I can't honestly, say with any certainty what I think the purpose of having Mahomes in this position is, other than to maybe propel, offensive play in the NFL into what it's become, which is, the main priority, whereas everybody else in the league before the Chiefs were all about, defense wins championships, running the ball, stopping the run. Maybe this is what forces the NFL to have to now start moving into more of an offensive, feel. But that's like the only thing that I can think of. But I do think there is something to be said about people being put into certain positions and having a certain level of success that they may not necessarily have earned, and maybe to a lesser degree deserve based on their resume and stuff like that. So I'm not putting it past the NFL. I'm really not. And to me, if there's one penalty that I want to point to and say the NFL doesn't care, it's the Rams-Saints game.
Oh, yeah.
Where Roby Coleman goes and just drills the receiver before the ball even gets there. There's no angle of that play that doesn't make what happened look just terrible for the league, right? But what does that do for the league? Everybody's talking about it, right? Even bad press is still good press for the NFL,
right?
Because you're talking about it. It's on every sports show. It's almost like they're printing money as it is. It doesn't matter what they do. People are going to talk about it. And if it's more polarizing, like a bad call, even better.
Right.
Why? Because we're going to talk about it.
We definitely want to talk about it.
So
we're going to spend a lot of time talking about it.
It's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah. Well, I got to scoot out, so.
Yeah, you got to get going. All right, so let me. You
going to get your 90 seconds, or you going to get your 180 seconds?
Hey, listen, I've done it 3 weeks in a row now. You sure you want to do that?
Here.
Outside looking in ain't been on here talking no stuff yet. But I imagine when he watches this episode, if he's not currently watching, he's going to try and call the over again, and he's going to lose some money. All right, I actually do have some more to say today, but let's make sure this music is at the right level. Okay, hopefully this is not too loud. I'll try and turn this down a little bit. It might be a little too loud. All right, that sounds a little bit better right there. All right, with that being said, I got about 80 seconds, about 75 seconds now. So listen, I need everybody to hit that like button, hit that little bell for notifications so that when we come out with new content, you get notified, you get brought right to it. Subscribe. We always need. We're 3 short, right? 3 short.
Too short of my mom having to do her thing.
Too short of Mom Dukes having to do her thing. So please help us get to 99 so we can get Mom Dukes on the line and get to it. With that being said, Basketball Truth and Knowledge. Go check him out. He's on YouTube. Does a great job with the NBA. With that being said, this has been the Post Podium Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Home of the All Truth, No Sodium Takes. And I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it.
A lot.
I've been your co-host, Aramis.
Yo, and I can even say this. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's key.
Yeah, and still got time. Look at that. All right. With that being said, we are out.
Deuces.